Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Smash Dispatch podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Fidel, and joined alongside me is my co-host here, Ultima Shadow X.
Hello.
How are you, buddy? How's the quarantine days treating you?
Well, we got Animal Crossing, literally in a few hours, so...
Yes, I'm excited, yeah. That is, it's so crazy how that game is just coming out at the most perfect time humanly possible.
Yeah, it's pretty much perfect. I mean, since it's such a cozy game, people need that escape, so...
Yeah, oh yeah. Hopefully all this shit in general gets, better within a month or two at least, at least the quarantine stuff. I mean, I'm sure events will still be fucked over for a bit because of all the production delays, but hopefully at least, society can run back to normal after, a month or two.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, as always, we are here to talk about everything Smash related, and this week we're going to be talking about two specific things. We're going to be talking about the Sakurai column/interview that kind of came up about the corona impact on the game, and how this whole virus and situation is going to be affecting competitive Smash and the future of it and stuff. So yeah, let's can you kick us off with the information on the article?
Yeah, so this comes from at Nokolock, who translated the article. Push Dustin has linked this on his Twitter page, so this is official for translation. Basically, it starts off by saying that the virus has been restricting Sakurai's business trips. So trips to Nintendo and Kyoto and trips to other companies have been very difficult. Planning new fighters, presenting to publishers, and having meetings have been indefinitely postponed. So at first when this came out, we only really knew that he wasn't able to meet with he wasn't able to present what they had made to companies because of the virus. And now we got more in depth saying just meetings in general with even Nintendo itself they haven't been able to do. So that's definitely going to delay the next fighter because they have to get the company that they're working with to get the sign off. And I heard some people say, oh, this confirms that it's going to be a third party. No, I mean, because if you can't even meet with Nintendo, it doesn't matter who your character is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, no matter what, I think we all know a character or two in the past are gonna be third party. It would be shocking if it wasn't. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely wild how because we don't usually have Nintendo or Sakurai or anyone openly talk about how the virus and stuff is affecting specific games. I think every
Nintendo's
other company
been so tight-lipped. I mean, we've been
a
lot of people have speculated, and I still am on the fence on if I really believe that the virus is why the Direct has been so late. I don't really think that, but definitely when Sakurai said oh, because of the virus, we had to delay the next character presentation. I mean, that does make it sound like it was at least partially influenced by the virus, was why the Direct could be so late. I'm sure we'll find out soon, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, if the rumors are true and that guy got his sources right, then it should be next week. Hopefully, we can only hope there. But yeah, no, the thing about that is, it's yeah, I agree with you where I think it's two things. I'm sure there was at least a week or two that had a direct, maybe the direct was slated for early March and then got pushed back a bit when things were getting a little more serious. But I do think especially the fact that it's gonna if it happens next week right after Animal Crossing, to me it really means that they wanted everyone's eyes to be on Animal Crossing and nothing else.
Yeah, no, Nintendo doesn't like to compete with itself. That's something that I talked to someone else about. They don't really want to compete with themselves. So I personally think it's a combination of they don't want to do anything major during Animal Crossing, and they also probably just I genuinely just think they don't have that much to show this year because they sort of had a lot going on last year, and they're probably trying to build up to next year. So I like I said, I don't really think the virus affected the Direct, but definitely it is affecting Nintendo itself, and that could have been a factor. So we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what that means. Does that mean for Smash specifically? Does that mean, let's say next week, does it mean we could get a character? Could it be a Joker situation where we get a character revealed and it comes out a couple of months after it, or does it mean the entire thing has shifted and maybe we're gonna see it at not E3 anymore because that's not a thing, but the Summer Direct, as we're gonna call it, I guess now.
Yeah, I think it seems to me if they've been having trouble presenting to publishers and planning, that they are still very early on. I think at most. You remember how when Joker was? I mean, he had a trailer, but I'm saying like, after the trailer, they were like, "Here's a screen, like here's like a short clip of Joker from behind," and that was it.
Exactly,
I feel like maybe that's like the minimum that we'll get because obviously it seems like they are having trouble with production, just due to everything going on right now.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see them, in this next direct, because again, it's been since January, since the presentation. I could see them reveal one just so that they can boost pre-orders, because right now, you have zero incentive to pre-order Fighter Pass 2, because like it's available to pre-order.
Unless you really want that Breath of the Wild armor.
Yeah, the Breath of the Wild armor.
Yeah.
It's like, you genuinely have like no reason to get it. So I feel like if they want to start boosting, because for me that's like the same thing for me of like, I'm not gonna get Fighter Pass. Obviously I'm gonna get the pass, but it's like I won't get it till I at least know the next character, because like, not that I don't have trust, but it's like I want to at least feel like I'm buying something with it. And I think that would be a smart way for them to get it out there. Again, we don't know how much they have something ready, or hey, maybe plans are gonna change where they're like, okay, maybe now we're just gonna show a CG trailer instead of some gameplay with it. But most other than Byleth, every character was revealed and then later on had a presentation either way.
Right, so I think this just means that it's gonna be a while at least. I think it's gonna be at least a few more months before we see anything, and if they do get revealed, it will be like a Byleth thing where they're revealed in the presentation. I don't really know if we're gonna get like a trailer, just because, you know, if you don't have the signing off on the company, then there's not really much you can actually show, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's like definitely a big issue. I mean, like,
the way he's making it sound, he's making it sound as if the character is very early in production because of just saying, you know, presenting and planning, you know?
Yeah, and again, like, this doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you know, they said all characters will be out by December 2021. I don't think that means that necessarily us, because we don't know yet if, like, that is just a massive, like, date that he put up there just so to know, like, hey, a character, all of them could come out from now to then max, right? As opposed to, like, maybe they could all be done by summer 2021 for all we know, or, like, fall 2021.
Right.
Like, it doesn't necessarily mean everything is fucked, because I'm sure there's at least some things that some characters, like the Nintendo ones or whatever, that they can work on a little more easier via, like, calls or other things. But yeah, it's definitely gonna have some kind of impact there. And I mean, in general, they've given themselves a lot of leeway of time with Fighter Pass 2, so I think that's why it's not gonna see a massive shift, right? Because now we have almost a 2-year window.
We don't even know if he's referring to Fighter 6. I mean, this could all be referring to 7. We don't really know anything super specific. So.
Exactly, yeah, that's the big thing. It's like we don't know which character, like, we don't know which character, because we know, don't they usually work on like 2 of them at a time? I mean, we know they have the full list, but I don't know how many they're working at a time. I don't know if they're doing one-on-one. Do you remember that? Was that ever stated?
I feel like from my understanding, it seems to me like they do the planning, and then once they get signed off on the company, they start working on the character, and then they start planning for another character. Like, that would make sense to me, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah, we will see. Yeah, it's in general, I mean, this whole thing has like affected all production of everything essentially. Like, it's gonna be I'm very curious to see that, like, in the Nintendo Direct, if we get that next week, right? What games are gonna have release dates, as opposed to games that are just like, you know, summer or just fall, because they're not exactly sure when they'll come out. So now it's a very interesting situation. Basically, 2020 for now is on hold. And another thing this is affecting in a pretty massive way, I think, and could be really harmful, is competitive Smash, right?
Yeah, competitive Smash. I mean, there have already been some events that have been closed. I think the last event that happened recently was CEO Dreamland.
Yeah,
and that was this week, like last weekend.
Oh yeah, that was like
a lot of pro players actually pulled out of the event because they're like, I'm not gonna risk getting sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I mean, it's totally understandable. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be pretty hard now. I mean, a lot of events are canceling. A lot of players just, even if an event isn't canceled, a lot of players just don't want to like go to events.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and Smash is the game that's least prepped for like online competitive. Like these companies can't host online matches for these guys with Smash because the internet is very inconsistent unless they just have like two
and it's
people
not
in the
like
room.
I mean, Nintendo has done online tournaments before that are like official. But they aren't like the most serious rule set. Like if I remember, they did one and there were items on. The first one they did had items on and like all stages, and then the second one was like 2 stock. I don't think they've actually done like a tournament using like any sort of official competitive rule set. Rules.
Yeah, it's really weird with that. I mean, like, and we had an official statement actually by Evo yesterday, being like, hey. Our event is basically in August. It's too soon to say whether we're canceling or not, so stay tuned. I think if this all kind of blows over by let's say by end of April, everyone's like, all right, you can go back to work, you can go back and do your thing. I think Evo will be fine. But if like by end of June this quarantine stuff is still going on, then yeah, it's definitely gonna get canceled.
I mean, I think the biggest problem for me in regards to that sort of thing is like. A lot of people, when they go to events, they get flights and they get hotels, and a lot of that stuff isn't necessarily refundable. And so, like, the earlier they would, I wish that they would just make a choice. And like, I'm glad that Evo I'm glad that they're still trying to make Evo happen because I'd be very like disappointed if we didn't get Evo. But you know, I just feel like I would rather events err on the side of caution than out people of money that they can't get back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a precarious situation. Yeah, that's why I think by end of April, I think that is soon enough to be able for people to cancel their flights and take it to stuff. I mean, in general, I think in general it's still too early for so many people to have bought their tickets for Evo and stuff because it doesn't really sell out really. It's pretty open wide event. So no, I hope all this shit gets solved. Because, yeah, like, the big hit becomes, like, yeah, if something like Evo's canceled and more events are canceled, then a lot of those competitive players are kind of screwed, right?
Yeah, MomoCon also recently said they're looking about changing the date. MomoCon's a convention in Georgia, but for a convention, it actually is, like, one of the bigger Smash events in the South area. So, as we see, like, the biggest problem, I mean, I can imagine is, like, for pro players, you know, they're gonna have to just up streaming more. I mean, a lot of their income would be from participating, getting sponsored for events. But if you can't attend events, then what are you gonna do? You know?
Exactly. I mean,
I expect a lot of pro players to like just be streaming like a shit ton and start making a ton of YouTube videos for sure.
No, I mean, I'm doing it. A lot of people are doing it. This is the best time to be streaming more, right? Because everyone's home. You're going to have way more people watching because everyone's just looking for things to do at home. And obviously, if you're a competitive player, it means you already have an audience that's pre-built that you can start at any time. You'll get views. And again, I always say it's like people will definitely support you and sub you and all that stuff if like you're making quality stuff that people really like and care about. So no, I think that's definitely what they're going to be resorting to for now. In general, I think every competitive player should just be streaming as a backbone because it's just not. I don't mean it like easy money in like a sleazy way, but like it is easy money to be like, you know what? If I'm going to be training, I might as well stream it and you know, get some Twitch subs and follows and stuff. So
and also people will support like their favorite player, like period. You know?
Exactly.
Like people are very understanding right now that like there's a lot of stuff like going on. And it's not necessarily their fault, so.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's some people that don't want to cancel their tickets to events just because they're like, you know what, let's just let them have the money since it might either way not happen or it could affect them on the bottom line. So, yeah, no, we're definitely in an unprecedented territory because, yeah, it could definitely get bad, especially when you think of competitive Smash specifically, where the prize monies aren't that big and stuff. If the big events that get canceled where they can make a decent amount, that it's gonna be like a big issue. Like it could like change. Like if it happens throughout the year, like a lot of big players could just end up dropping out of Smash and just doing other stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, events. I mean, any events that are still open now, I'm sure are gonna have a much lower turnout rate. And actually, what was super cool was None and Samsora for CEO Dreamland just this weekend. They actually donated their prize money back to the organizer because, you know, they were going to take a big hit because, you know, turnout was so low.
Right.
So that's really nice that at least, you know, again, at least like everyone's sort of understanding of the situation. And everyone's trying to help each other out because it could have been a lot worse. Like, if people just were selfish in this situation,
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting time where it's a developing thing. We're gonna definitely see what. Like I said, I've said this on a lot of shows and podcasts. I feel like by the end of April, we're gonna know where everything stands. Like, we're gonna know I feel like that's when we're gonna know what the rest of the year is like, what the situation is like, and I'm hoping it's better. I think it might. I think it will be.
Yeah,
I think in
and
a month.
I think even though I completely understand like Nintendo's angle, I do think it is extremely unfortunate now that Nintendo doesn't really like as we said earlier, doesn't have their own scene, like their own organized like events, because like you have the ArcSys World Tour, right? Tekken has a World Tour, so it's like these other companies that have these bigger fighting games, they organize their own events, and because of that, they can like, okay, well, we can't have these events like Capcom Cup as well. We can't have these events anymore because of the virus, but we're gonna like personally ourselves invest money and look for alternatives. And Nintendo is very hands off of Smash, and so it sucks that there's a lot of like people that are out of like being able to compete, even if they are able to stream and still raise funds,
Yeah, I mean, it's what we always talk about. Of like the biggest issue is that, not in a bad way, but like Smash to Nintendo is obviously a big and important video game, but it is just one of a bunch of big game releases they have and that they're taking care of, right? Whereas like a game like Tekken 7 is like a massive revenue stream for Bandai. It's a massive revenue stream for Capcom, for Street Fighter. It's like a lot of these companies that do a lot of fighting games and stuff, like that's where a big pull of their money comes from. Whereas a company like Nintendo is about to make crazy bank on Animal Crossing, it made crazy bank on Pokemon, it makes crazy bank on Smash, Mario, a bunch of Switch stuff. It's like that's why Nintendo doesn't specifically always invest super much in competitive Smash. It's because to them, as important of a game as it is, and obviously there's a competitive scene, to them it's like one of many of their first party titles that they gotta advertise and sell to.
And also, again, I've spoken about this before, but people, we very much live in a bubble because we think, sure, people like playing serious matches and they watch the competitive scene, but like if you like we did the math, and like if you compare the sales of like how many people bought Smash and how many people watched like Evo, which it was like maybe like 1%, like if even 1%, like you know what I mean?
We did that.
The casual audience is very much the big crowd that Nintendo wants to appeal to for sales. And they're just so, in their mind, it's like we have this big game that a lot of people love, and we just so happen to have a competitive, hardcore audience. But that's not the majority, That's how they see it. So, like I said, even though it's unfortunate, especially in this situation, it's totally understandable, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's gonna be like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens and what goes on there. So yeah, that's it for kind of the news side of things. So I guess we definitely have more time for a topic. So I thought we would do an interesting topic this week, which is talk about the Smash hype cycle and why it is so it's so different than other fighting game hype cycles and character reveals and stuff like that. I feel like it's like an interesting conversation to have. So like, for example, for you, Ultim, what is the hype for Smash like cycle for you? Like, how does it go usually for yourself?
Well, I think it really depends. Like, because I think I've changed more now than when I was younger. Like, very much, when I was younger, you would see like, new games coming out. Oh my God, it's like such a big deal. And then they reveal more characters and you just get excited. Based on who the character is or who gets leaked.
Right.
And very much I was someone who would like, oh man, this character should, like, why did they pick this character over this character, blah, blah, blah. Like when I was younger, I mean, obviously. But now I think, honestly, like now I'm just happy to see more content in Smash. Like, I think in general, I don't really go through as much as a hype cycle as I do like, oh yeah, this is really cool. I think for me now, the hype cycle is based on if I like playing the character or not. Like, if I'm like, oh, this character looks like they have some really cool moves, and then I play them in game and I don't like how they play, yeah, like, then I'll be disappointed. But, like, if I play them and I really click with them and I like how their moves work, then I'll be like, oh, yeah, this is really great. I'm glad that, like, this character is someone I can actually, like, enjoy playing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, for me, yeah, I mean, we'll get into how the internet kind of handles it, but for me specifically, I genuinely, like, obviously as someone who's very much known for hype, I like to seek into the hype, again, even if it's not for Smash specifically. Like, I'm the type of person for Smash of, like, it is the game that is so easy to fake leak or maybe real leak, because, and you don't know which one is real or not. Like, there's someone out there on 4chan or wherever that has an actual leak, right? But we can never know because it's, like, buried in, like, 5,000 other fake Smash leaks, right? And to me, I think there's a certain charm in at least just the thought of a character joining. So, like, even if it's not real, like, let's say there's a leak that says, there was the one where it was, Doom Guy is coming, and we had those Mii costumes and stuff like that, where it's like, that, or the Frogger one, where it's like, these are really weird ones that, like, for me, get me super excited, super hyped. And I've noticed even for myself, I mean, like, people have, like, I have a friend who's made a joke about this of, like, they could add a rock in Smash and you'll be hyped, which like, shows that, like, for me, it really is a thing of, I'm just there for the hype and excitement of the character. Like, I'm mostly there for the hype of the character than necessarily, like, really sitting there and speculating of, like, because by this point, I have all the characters I've really wanted. I mean, obviously there's more characters I want in the game, but I kind of have the major ones that I've ever wanted in my life. So for me, it's all about just, like, joining in the hype. I love the conversation, which is, like, a big factor of it.
Like, I agree, and specifically, like, when you're talking about leaks, I know some people are very, like, you know, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to see it, and, like, I respect that, because, you know, that the level of hype, you know, can be reduced if you know ahead of time. But in
sure.
my personally, when I see like, I don't mind seeing leaks, because, like, one, you can always take it with a grain of salt, which you always should. And two, like, they don't explain how the character works or what they'll do or anything like that. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like, when Terry got leaked, you know, I think we all had, like, you know, we all had an idea of, like, what some of his moves were, but what it's actually seeing them in game is far different than, like, thinking about what it looks like in your head. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm someone who can still get very hyped off of leaks, just because, you know, I don't see like, that much of a difference between, like, knowing who the character is and actually seeing them. I think they're very different, and a character can go against what you think, like, even if you think you know how they'll work, you know.
And, like, I feel like what's interesting is it really was Smash 4 that started the hype cycle, because that's obviously, Smash 4 was the time where internet was super established and everyone's got it and everyone's keeping track of the daily stuff and the news updates. So I feel like Smash 4 was really when the Smash hype cycle began, on the internet at least, where people were having conversations of stuff and people were leaking stuff. And it's like, we always talk about how, yeah, there's two sides of the coin when it comes to the hype, right? There is we are getting super excited for a character that we're predicting or hoping for, and then it doesn't get announced, and someone is ultimately super disappointed and almost mad when, like, that character was never promised to them.
Right.
And it's as opposed to the other side of it, which is, like, people are just getting hyped for what the reveals. It's like, there really is nothing more exciting than when we're getting close, when we know we're getting close to a reveal, and everyone's just losing their shit and being like, which character is it gonna be? What the predictions are gonna be? It's such a different wild beast of its own.
Yeah, and again, like, I do think leaks and everything have sort of, like you were saying earlier about the internet, I do think leaks have definitely changed expectations from people for the worst. Sure. I mean, obviously we're saying, like, you know, you should take things with a grain of salt, but, you know, people will get, like, preemptively upset when they see a leak, you know what I mean, if they don't like it.
Yeah.
And exactly. that for a lot of people, that can sort of spoil, like, the character, or it can increase it, because you can be like, oh, thank God the leak wasn't real. But still, I feel like leaks just in general, like I said, even if I personally don't care about leaks, and I'll look at them and I'll be like, okay, like, what if? It's fun to speculate. But I do think overall they have had more of a negative impact than a positive one, in my opinion.
Right. And like, obviously a big factor of Smash to me, I've never seen a game more like discussed and debated online ever. And I think obviously the big reason why Smash is so different, because like for me, like let's say Dragon Ball Fighters, right? Of course there's speculation on the next character, but it's not the same, because here with Smash the difference is the third parties, right? Of like, because Smash is a completely crossover game, predictions can range from literally any franchise. So you have discussions from people that want characters that are from whether third party or first party or Splatoon or a Pokemon or a Zelda character or a fucking Final Fantasy character. It's like, that's why the conversation on Smash is so much bigger. It's because everyone wants a piece of the, not everyone wants a piece of the pie, but like Smash can have a piece of every pie, so everyone that's from every fan base can gather around together and think, oh, what if this character comes in or this one comes in? It's like, I think that's why Smash, the hype cycle is so much different than other franchises, because especially after Smash 4, like third party guests have become almost the norm for Smash. And it's just created a much bigger discussion, because before in the past, you know, other than like Snake and Sonic, it used to be a very closed door of like, okay, we're predicting amongst Nintendo characters. But now not only can we predict like a Street Fighter character, but we got a second Street Fighter character. So people will be like, oh my god, can we get Mega Man and I don't know, Zero? Obviously that didn't happen, but people wanted that. Or like, so we're it's crazy to be at that point with Smash where people could even wish and hope for like a second rep from a third party series, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the door is so much wider open. Like Smash 4, I think, well, Brawl sort of set the stage, but I think they said like after, I think when they revealed Sonic, Sakurai himself was like, we're not adding any more third parties. But Smash 4, yeah, definitely Smash 4 was like a big door of like, as soon as you saw Mega Man, you're like, oh man, what other third parties are we going to be getting? Also, like, you know, how you said, you know, oh, there's a Street Fighter character coming. I will say this. I do think, like, leaks that just come from, like, random people posting online or, like, quote-unquote insiders, like, fine. Like, that's because that's, like, I you know, you don't believe those people. You don't have to believe those people. Obviously, there's, you know, very times they don't really have any, like, backing behind them. But I think what's super unfortunate is when leaks happen that are, like, in the game's files. Like, that was so sad in Smash 4 when like they just data like they data mined the game and they're like, oh, here's Ryu and Lucas and Roy, and that would have been like a huge reveal if all three were shown off at the same time, but it was sort of spoiled because we just knew that they were absolutely confirmed, you know.
Yeah, all these like, it's so weird, when these companies, especially like fighting games, are the most problematic with this, and a lot of games, because you could find DLC like code and models and stuff. It's like these companies need to do a better job with like file hiding and stuff, because people easily find shit. It's like we already like what's it called, Ultra Instinct Goku was found in the game, and Caulifla was found in the game for fighters like way before it was announced, or even same thing for Smash, where the hero was in the code of the game forever, like that code in there. So it's like, it's so sad it's because again, this is such a different time, and obviously these companies, they can't remember every single line of code that's in the game to be able to scrub everything. So yeah, that's why it's such an interesting and weird thing about the leaks, where, the ones that are caused by the company, or the one where it was, what was it? Was it Nintendo themselves when they leaked the Castlevania soundtrack the night before the big reveal?
Oh, yeah. Like, that's the stuff that I just feel like it's super unfortunate because, you know, people didn't exactly know, like, you know, ahead of time, and somebody just made a mistake, you know. That's the stuff I genuinely feel bad about.
It sucks, especially, like, it sucks when it's, like, so close, right? Like, stuff like the Terry, like, the SNK trademark that was made on the Smash website, or, the Simon Belmont, like, the song that leaked on the site. It's like, that sucks because, like, we were so close to the reveal that, like, it takes away from it, because, like, obviously it's still cool, but, like, when Terry was being revealed, I was like, I mean, we're about to see Terry Bogard, so, like, obviously it's still exciting, but you don't have the pop of, holy shit, it's this character. And same thing for Simon Belmont, where it's like, okay, this is gonna be Simon, I'm excited to see what it's like, And that's why Richter was such a surprise. Because like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, nobody saw
random.
Richter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was that. You know, they still can mix. Like I said, they still can have
sure.
things that you don't expect, or they do something with the character you wouldn't know, and still make it exciting for you, even if you know who it's gonna be.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, like, it's like the hype cycle for Smash it's a different entity, and I think also Sakurai is a big part of it, where people talk about him and meme him, and obviously how he, like, people are so, like, the thing about Smash is I've never in my life seen a franchise that is so picked apart to find out what, like, it's like the fact that people, we know we joke about it a lot, but the fact that people were looking at chairs and couches in the background of Sakurai's videos.
Oh yeah, as if I love how people think like everything Sakurai does or says is like a hint to something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's so funny. It's like, I think the only time he did that recently was like when he did that 3 pose in that picture for the Smash presentation.
Okay, but if you think about it, dude, if you think about this, three fingers, 3 houses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no, that was definitely not intentional, but I'm just saying that's really funny that just, like, everyone was speculating what does it mean, and then, like, that one could have been, like, correct, and nobody would have, like, thought about it.
Yeah. Because there were some people because everyone was memeing online, wait, 3 fingers and showing, like, a third thing, or games with 3 characters or whatever, but it's, like, it's so funny how, like, yeah, that was the most obvious Sakurai joke tease image, and, I mean, like, it's again, it's a testament to how much. It's easy, because I feel like it's always easy to look at the Smash community and fans would be like, oh my god, these people are ungrateful and stuff. It's like, I don't think it's necessarily about that. I think it's just the fact that people are really passionate and care about Smash so much that they're always curious about what's coming. I mean, like, I've never seen, like, Smash is the only fighting game I've ever seen where people have constantly put threads of, alright, here's the fighter pass. Which characters do you think should be in? Which characters do you want to see in? Which characters do you realistically think won't get in but you'd want to see? It's like, it's such a, I feel like Smash is just its own different identity. Not identity, but entity of predict. Because, like, no one sits there and says, like, man, Hollow Knight would be cool in Mortal Kombat, right? It's like people think of...
People, I will say Mortal Kombat is actually one of the few fighters that's exclusive to that, because even if you know, it's not specifically other video game characters, but definitely people can be like, oh man, wouldn't, like, you know, Jason, or, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
or Alien and Predator, like, when all that was going on with MKX, sure. a lot of those, like, oh man, what movie character, like, what horror
the Warner
character
Bros.
Cool
characters,
But yeah, Smash is definitely, Smash and I would say Mortal Kombat are probably the 2 fighting games where people, like, speculate about characters the most, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
But to go off of your example, like, you know, people when they played you know, when BlazBlue was still going on with Street Fighter V and everything, people weren't, like, speculating, oh man, who's gonna be in Street Fighter V? Like, you know what I mean? People were just like, oh yeah, we're just happy with what we get, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, again, for me, it's all. So what would you say was your peak hype of a character reveal?
Peak hype. I honestly, like, would have to say, I probably Joker. I mean, only because Joker was never, like, leaked or expected anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think for Joker, but, like, if we're talking about characters that, like, I think were revealed ahead of time, I would say Pac-Man, because Pac-Man was very much someone who I have always wanted, like, for a really long time, because I love Pac-Man World, and I really love Pac-Man in general. So I was really happy to finally have Pac-Man, like, such an iconic, legendary video game character in Smash, you know?
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, like, for me, obviously I think it's Sonic, the one where I remember as a young person just losing my mind over. But yeah, modern-wise, I feel like I definitely lost my shit. Yeah, Joker, I lost my shit over. I lost my shit over Mega Man, because that's, like, one of my favorite characters. Banjo was another big pop, finally getting him in there. I think those are, like, my peak, like, biggest hypes. Because, again, it's like, it's funny. I love when... It's cool when things calm down. Like, right now, I feel like we're in a calm period where, like, you know, you don't see that many Smash posts of, like, who do we think it's going to be and stuff. Like, things have chilled out. But I feel like as soon as we get, like, a direct announcer, we're getting closer to E3 or whatever, then you're going to see that hype building up and people be like, all right, who's next, right? It's like, there's such a... Again, it's just because it's a completely crossover franchise why it's so unique. Again, a game like Street Fighter, they make new characters or they bring back old ones. There's barely ever barely ever Street Fighter like third-party cameos, or even obviously like a game like Fighters or Tekken. It's like a lot of these games either pull from their source material or gotta make new stuff. So that's why it's such a different beast, and that's why I love it. It's like so much more fun to speculate and have fun with there.
Right.
Yeah. And again, it's like Smash is the one franchise where a character reveal feels like an event that everyone's attending, whereas like other fighting games, like obviously it's cool when we get a character reveal and stuff, but it's like there's something different about like that week leading up to a moment where we know something's gonna get revealed.
Yeah, also like if you think about it, like a lot of big fighting games nowadays, like like Guilty Gear and Mortal Kombat, and they reveal characters like at like their own like tournaments and events.
Exactly.
And because Smash doesn't have that, and it's always tied to a Nintendo Direct or a separate presentation. It feels very much like, this is for everybody. Like, this is out here for everybody to watch, and everyone come in and get in here and enjoy the reveal and the trailer,
Yeah, exactly. That is definitely a big factor of like, yeah, we know for Guilty Gear, right? At least every major event has had like a character or reveal or something. So it's cool to know that it's cool and scary for Smash, the fact that like we could go for so long without a character reveal just because they don't necessarily reveal them at big events. Like the one time it ever happened was that Evo in 2018 where they said a Smash Direct was coming, which I feel like I would like more of that. Like, hey, oh my god, after this tournament we're gonna get a Sakurai presentation of who the next one is. So I hope they do more of that in the future. But yeah, I think that's mainly it for the hype discussion, all the shit impacting. So I think that's gonna be it for this episode. So do you have any final thoughts, Ultima?
We're just gonna find out what happens next week, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, I mean, hopefully if next week there's a direct, we can do some character speculating and see what's up, and we will have Animal Crossing. So that's all that matters. So anyways, that's it. That's all. Thank you all for watching Smash Dispatch. You can follow me at Twitter at @UUKami, and you can follow Ultimate Shadow X at Ultimate Shadow X. And we will see you all next week. Peace out.